Welcome the God-chosen ones. They attempted to bury you, but they had no idea you were a seed. Here is the thing. Nobody saw you coming. Not the skeptics, not the detractors, not even some of the folks rooting for you. And that is the beauty of it. When everyone expects you to fail, the moment you succeed seems like a narrative shock they will never recover from. Here's a fact to ponder on. History is replete with tales of surprising conquerors. Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone to help the deaf communicate more effectively. J.K. Rowling had 12 rejections before anybody realized a boy wizard could sell books. And you're going to add your name to the list of those who become artists. But let's not pretend that this was always an easy route. It was not presented to you on a silver platter. It was more like they threw you a fork and said, "Good luck finding dinner." Yet here you are, winning in ways they still can't understand. So sit back, watch the show, and let's figure out why the selected ones like you are winning exactly because no one saw it coming. At number 1, you were hiding in plain sight. They never saw you approaching since you were hiding in plain sight. You didn't match their perception of what a winner looked like. You were not outspoken about your aspirations. You didn't seek the limelight or beg for favor while others concentrated on those who spoke loudest or showed off the most. You quietly developed something they didn't understand they needed to fear. They underestimated you since you didn't demonstrate your full potential. That was your power. People expect excellence to come across as evident, flamboyant, or perfectly packaged, but you were the reverse. You faded into the background, just enough beneath the radar to convince them you weren't a danger. They misjudged you, and now their skepticism contributes to your win. While others spent time observing others, you were planning to outperform them all. The irony, you did not conceal anything. You were always there, quietly performing your job while others disregarded you. It wasn't luck or happenstance. You understood how to play the long game and were ready to let them believe they were ahead. They were so focused on their own cacophony that they overlooked the quiet strength you were creating. Now the tables have turned, and the look on their faces is priceless. They did not view you as a competitor, which makes your ascension difficult to ignore. Their expectations had blinded them, but your actions spoke louder than anything they imagined. Your accomplishment was not a fluke. It required planning, patience, and unwavering effort. And now that you're in the limelight, they assumed you'd never touch. They're left wondering how they overlooked the one who had been winning all along. Number 2, your fight was not your weakness. That was your blueprint. Your fight was never a weakness. That was your blueprint. Every adversity, rejection, and difficulty that might have shattered you taught you how to bend without breaking. You were not given the easy way. Others may have had shortcuts or advantages, but you had something much more precious, the capacity to adapt, persevere, and create possibilities where none existed. They built their prosperity on flimsy grounds. Yours is founded on resilience. They cannot imitate or copy. They felt the battle would define you negatively. They anticipated it to wear you down, make you bitter, or cause you to give up. They didn't realize how each setback was turning you into someone they couldn't compete with. You learned how to get up quicker, wiser, and stronger. Each failure was not the end. It was a lesson. Over time, their teachings became your map, leading you to a triumph they couldn't have imagined. What distinguishes your achievement is more than simply your ability to overcome adversity. It's that the fight shaped you into the things they would have avoided at all costs. The rejection, the loneliness, the uncertainty created the basis for your strength. You learned how to manage storms that they'd never seen, and that's why their strategy doesn't work against you. They expected you to fall under the weight of it all, but you learned to bear it gracefully. Now that you've won, people may refer to you as fortunate or an overnight success. But you know the truth. Every struggle you waged, every time you doubted yourself, was part of the plan. Your battle was not a setback. It was your training ground. And now you are here, thriving while others are still trying to find out how you achieved it. Number 3, being the underdog was your superpower. Being an underdog was never a disadvantage. That was your superpower. While they basked in their advantages and boasted about their early beginnings, you were creating something they had no idea existed. Grit. They expected their advantages to keep you in the shadows, but they didn't anticipate your capacity to survive in environments they wouldn't dare to enter. You weren't just surviving. You were honing talents, endurance, and a hunger that cannot be taught. They didn't bother keeping an eye on you since you didn't matter to them. They did not perceive you as a competitor. That hubris allowed you to work without being scrutinized. They spent time attempting to impress each other while you remained focused. And the irony is that your concentration has suddenly propelled you miles ahead of them. You did not need praise, accolades, or a head start. You simply had to remain in the game, knowing that every minor victory was preparing you for something far larger. Your power was not derived from shortcuts or easy victories. It stemmed from being disregarded. Every doubt they put on you, every dismissal you received became fuel. Because of this, you do not simply ascend, you ascended with an edge. They do not have. They have never been in the trenches. I never had to struggle for every inch. They don't understand what it's like to be hungry or to persevere when the odds are stacked against you. But you do. They're now rushing to figure out how you won. They didn't know that by underestimating you, they offered you the most priceless gift of all. The opportunity to build in quiet with no one standing in your way. That is why you are here today. Winning in unexpected ways. Number 4, they expected you to obey the rules. They expected you to obey the rules to remain in line and play the game precisely as planned. The system was rigged in their favor, with hurdles designed to keep individuals like you out. It was never designed for your success. It was designed to hold you in place. However, they did not expect your capacity to transgress their regulations without even trying. You didn't just endure their system, you outsmarted it. They wanted you to feel there was only one way to succeed. Theirs. Follow the instructions, follow the unsaid rules, and just maybe you'd get a little victory. But you did not follow their rules, since you knew something they didn't. Their system was not the only one. You forged your own path, disregarded their restrictions, and rewrote the rules. While they stuck to convention and predictability, you were busy creating and pushing limits they had no idea existed. Your success requires more than simply ability or plan. It's a revolt. Every victory you make is a subtle act of rebellion against the limitations they thought would keep you back. They used the rules to control you, but they didn't realize that rules don't work on people who don't respect their power. You didn't just shatter the mold, you broke it. Now they're scurrying to find out how you got around the technology they said was unbreakable. The fact is that they misjudged your capacity to think outside the box, to challenge the status quo, and to carve out a place that was never planned for you. Your accomplishment is more than simply a win. It proves that the rules they created do not define you. You've showed them that this system only works if you allow it, which you never did. Number 5, they established a legacy. However, you are creating a revolution. They felt that their legacy was impenetrable, a monument that would remain undisturbed for years. They labored feverishly to construct what they believed was forever, a structure so strong and anchored that no one could change it. But they didn't comprehend you didn't want to inherit their heritage. You are not here to protect what they have created. You've come to deconstruct it and make something totally your own. While they adhered to tradition, you could see the fissures. Their legacy was never intended to develop. It was immobile, with antiquated notions and restrictive definitions of success. They expected you'd follow the rules they created and strive for the same objectives they celebrated, but you didn't. Instead of attempting to fit inside their structure, you opted to completely demolish it and begin constructing something larger, braver, and freer than they could have dreamed. Your revolution is not about eliminating what they have done. It's about constructing a future that pushes its boundaries. Their legacy may have been strong, but it was never adaptable. That's why it won't thrive in the world you're building. You are altering everything: the way things are done, how success is measured, and the chances accessible to those who will follow you. They noticed the shift and attempt to grasp it. They felt they were constructing something permanent, but that is not development. You are not here to maintain their customs. You are here to break them. Their legacy was meant to remain, but your revolution is intended to change, and transformation always triumphs. Because while they were fixated on the past, you were constructing the future. They will remember their legacy. However, history will remember your revolt. Number 6, you were created to disrupt, not to comply. They expected you to follow the rules, play the game according to their rules, and strive for the objectives they consider acceptable. They expected you to seek their favor, judge your value by their standards, and climb the same predictable ladder they had established for themselves. But this is not who you are. You weren't here to comply. You were created to disturb their system, which was meant to reward uniformity, to honor those who have followed their way, without a doubt, but you saw through it. You saw that the ladder they erected was not going up. It was just going in circles, trapping everyone who dared to play along. So instead of climbing it, you disassembled it and constructed your own. Your achievement is more than simply reaching the top. It is about altering the whole game. You've taught them that their way isn't the only way, and that the boundaries they imposed were nothing more than illusions. What they termed impossible, you've converted it into a playground. You've taken risks they never thought about, pushed limits they didn't know existed, and created possibilities where they didn't think there were any. This isn't a revolt just for the purpose of it. It's about transforming emotions. You were not born to fit into their mold. You were created to test it, to extend it, and to demonstrate that success does not follow a one-size-fits-all formula. You are not just defying expectations, you are rewriting them. Now they're dealing with a reality they weren't expecting. You have not only disturbed the current quo, but completely reshaped it. The greatest part? You didn't need their permission to do it. That they believed was impossible has become your playground, and they are straining to keep up with a world you have already outgrown. Number 7, they did not see the subtle strength you were creating. They missed it completely. You were traveling silently while others were creating noise, seeking attention, and attempting to outdo one another. You did not need to announce every step or seek approval for your intentions. They interpreted your silence for inactivity and your serenity for passive. They failed to see the quiet strength you had been developing all along. Consistent, purposeful, and inexorable. Your wins did not need an audience. Each choice you took, each action you planned, was part of a scheme too delicate for them to detect. They were seeking for fireworks while you were constructing a foundation. You didn't have to yell, since the power you were gaining didn't demand applause. It was formed through concentration, discipline, and perseverance. Away from the attention they so dearly sought. Now, quiet speaks louder than loudness. Your calm strength produces outcomes that are tough to ignore. While they were sidetracked by their own egos, you were ready to completely redefine the game. They didn't comprehend that the loudest person in the room wasn't necessarily in charge. You didn't simply equal their enthusiasm. You outperformed them without even attempting to compete on their terms. Their surprise is not just about your achievement, but also about how you accomplished it. They believed that power derived from attention, but you've shown a deeper reality. Real strength does not need to declare itself. It grows silently and steadily until it is evident. Now, while they try to figure out how they missed you, you stand tall. Your silence, a monument to everything they had misjudged. While their loudness diminishes, your silent strength increases. And it is louder than anything they have ever heard. Number 8, you transformed every no into a yes. Every no was designed to deter you. That is how they planned it. The gatekeepers grinned, believing their rejection was the last word. They expected you to leave away feeling disappointed and disheartened. What they didn't anticipate was for each refusal to spark something inside you, a tremendous resolve that transformed every closed door into a fresh opportunity. The world repeatedly told you no, you're not enough. No, this is not for you. No, you do not belong here. But instead of allowing those words to define you, you transformed them into fire. Each rejection didn't mean the end of your story. It was the start of a new one. The no's drove you to think imaginatively, to look for flaws in the barriers they created to cut down passageways they had no idea existed. The fact is that rejection teaches you how to win. It improved your resilience, adaptability, and fearlessness. While they remained inside the safety of their comfort zones, you honed your skills at prospering in unfamiliar environments. Every closed door teaches you something new: how to endure, pivot, and believe in oneself when no one else does. They are now astonished. The same individuals who mocked you are now trying to figure out how you've climbed so quickly. They didn't understand their nose was honing you, making you invincible. They saw hurdles, but you saw stepping stones. Their skepticism became your advantage, their rejections your route map to success. You did not just convert no into yes, you transformed it into more. More opportunity, development, and success than they ever imaginable. And now, every yes you hear is a reminder of the strength you've forged from the exact thing they feared would destroy you. Number 9, you don't need validation, you need results. You've never required affirmation. While others pursued, approval clung to applause and desired acknowledgement. You focused on the one thing that actually matters: outcomes. You realized early on that the cheers of others would not construct your future. Clapping fades, attitudes shift, and approbation is erratic. Yet results, they speak for themselves. They wasted their time chasing attention and proving themselves to people who didn't matter, while you worked hard. You didn't need a crowd to confirm that you were doing the correct thing. You weren't concerned about being noticed. It was about creating something that could not be ignored. And that is precisely what you've done now that you've won. They are left scrambling. They assumed the applause was meant for them. They believed their desire for affirmation made them significant, but they overlooked the wider picture. While others were busy performing for approval, you were creating, grinding, and developing quietly. And now the findings are clear enough to dispel any doubt. Your achievement is not the result of being loved. It's the result of being relentless. You didn't ask for permission or wait for someone to acknowledge your efforts. You just continued going, certain that the findings would demonstrate all they needed to know. The same folks who ignored you are now asking how they missed the indications. The irony is that they're still looking for applause while you're leaving a lasting legacy. They are still attempting to be recognized, but your work is difficult to ignore. Validation is transitory, but the consequences are irrefutable. And as you continue to win, you demonstrate that you never need anyone's permission to succeed. All you needed to do was trust in yourself and let the outcomes speak for themselves. Number 10. They never comprehended your vision. They never comprehended your vision because they were too focused on the surface, on what they could see, touch, and measure with their restricted, out-of-date criteria. To them, success was something that could be measured and fit neatly into the boxes they had designed. But your vision was never to fit in. It was never about following a formula or satisfying someone else's expectations. It was larger than their understanding, greater than their restricted vision could possibly fathom. They observed the steps you were taking and assumed they understood where you were going, but they overlooked the larger picture. They didn't know you weren't simply playing the game. They were still fixated on the rules, while you were busy rewriting them. What they believed was impossible, you saw as inevitable. They couldn't see the whole scene since they were seeing through a tiny lens, but you saw the horizon, the greater potential, the road that was concealed from their eyes. And now, as your vision emerges, it is irrefutable. They disregarded it as impractical. You have transformed into reality. What they could not have imagined is now feasible. They could not quantify it, so they ignored it. But now their disbelief is meaningless. What they didn't comprehend is now your greatest success. Your vision was not intended to fit inside their limitations, and now it is evident why. It's because you're meant for something much greater than their restricted definitions of success. They couldn't see it then, but they do now. And as they watch everything develop, they wonder how they could have missed what was there in front of them. Because your vision wasn't just ahead of its time, it was beyond their comprehension. Number 11, you used your particular shortcoming into a game changer. What others referred to as your weakness, you regarded as a hidden weapon. They were eager to bring out something they saw as a weakness, something that made you unique in ways they didn't understand. They believed it would hold you back, preventing you from achieving in the manner they intended. But instead, you identified it for what it was, your distinct edge. While they attempted to squeeze you into a mold, convincing you that you should be like everyone else, you recognized that the same thing they considered flawed was the secret to your success. What they saw as a weakness, you transformed into a game changer. Whether it was a quality they found odd, unusual, or even inconvenient, you realized what set you distinct. It became your hallmark, characteristic, something no one else could match, something that offered you a clear advantage over the competitors. They didn't perceive it because they were too preoccupied with complying and fitting into a predetermined definition of success. But you realized that the ultimate route to greatness did not include fitting in. It was about accepting your differences. The quality they feared would hold you back became the one that propelled you ahead. Now, as you continue to climb, they're left wondering how something they rejected as a weakness became your greatest asset. Your distinctiveness is no longer a disadvantage, it is your biggest asset. And what they couldn't see is that you've evolved into the driving force that distinguishes you from everyone else. They believed it would stop you. It's the reason you've won number 12. You have played the long game. They had no idea there was one. While others celebrated their short victories and instant satisfaction, you were silently building the foundation for something much greater. They believed that success was defined by quick actions and speedy outcomes, chasing the next dazzling opportunity without contemplating the long-term consequences. But you knew better. You recognized that true success did not include rushing to the finish line. It was about playing the long game. You didn't need immediate successes, since you had a vision that took patience, strategy, and time to achieve. Every choice you made, every action you took, was part of a strategy that did not depend on immediate outcomes. You concentrated on laying a strong foundation and making strategic decisions that would pay dividends in the future. While they were busy running, you were preparing yourself for a marathon. They couldn't see it because they were so focused on short-term benefits. However, when your method develops and the results speak for themselves, they are left wondering how you were able to go so far ahead. What they didn't realize is that true winners don't hurry the process. They're not for fleeting success. They're creating legacies. While others were looking for short gains, you were investing in long-term development, recognizing that true influence takes time to develop. And now, as you enjoy the benefits of your patience and insight, they're trying to catch up, wondering how you did it. You proved something they couldn't understand. Success is more than simply what occurs in the moment. It is about what you put in action for the future. They may have believed they had the upper hand with their quick successes, but you knew all along that the true edge comes from playing the long game, and now you're enjoying the benefits they didn't expect. In the end, the world did not see you coming. They misjudged you, mocked your daring, and ignored your calm resolve. They created a system, a set of rules, and a vision that they believed would keep you under control. But while they were busy focusing on their advantages, you were creating a legacy they couldn't understand, a revolution that redefined success in your own terms. Every nay became a stepping stone, every defect a distinct strength, and every rejection just more gasoline for your flames. You did not need their approval. You did not need their permission. You needed results. And the consequences now speak eloquently. You've shown that success does not come from following their route or fitting inside their confines. It comes from understanding who you are, believing in your vision, and refusing to adapt to the limitations they've set while they try to figure out how you've climbed so much above them. You are steadfast in your truth. You were never here to follow their rules, having converted every challenge into an opportunity. You were here to rewrite them, and now, as you look forward, you have the opportunity to create an unstoppable and extraordinary future. They hadn't expected it, but you're winning because you knew you could alter the game. If you're ready to break the rules, defy expectations, and create a genuinely unique future, here is the place for you. Don't simply stay on the sidelines. Join the revolution. Subscribe today to remain ahead, evolve, and get the skills you need to craft your own narrative. It's not simply about following trends, it's about establishing them. So press the subscribe button and become a part of something larger, because the greatest is yet to come, and you do not want to miss it. Stay blessed.